What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Frankie's Aquatics right here on the wonderful magical platform that is YouTube. Thank you very much for stopping by and checking out this week's video. I had so much fun making last week's video because I had to record 2 videos, maybe 3, in the space of a week, which I've never ever had to do. Obviously I had one for my own channel, I had one for the Gamer's Wife collaboration video, which I absolutely adored doing. Thank you so much again, AGW. And then I had the following week's video, which kind of had pre-recorded, and then it kind of lost relevance. I won't show you the details, but it kind of lost relevance, so I'm now recording this week's video, which will be released tomorrow, because today's Sunday. So yeah, it works, it works. I don't question it too much, because the system works. So today's video is going to be quick-fire yes and no questions in regards to axolotls. I will go as far as saying hundreds of questions each and every week from you guys, and I'm absolutely humbled that you turn to me for advice. I will help anybody that I possibly can in regards to axolotl care, and I take great pride in the fact that people turn to me for advice. So I like to think I'm pretty knowledgeable on this subject. I wouldn't go as far as calling myself an expert. I think too many people label themselves an expert. There's many forums out there with many experts inside of them. Now, I'm not knocking the people that do know this stuff, because we all have to learn from somewhere. But I think sometimes misguided information is easily dished out online. And I think it's very important that you kind of do your homework in regards to what questions you might be asking, and also make sure you're doing it in regards to getting it from more than just one source. So just make sure that you're getting your information from a valid source. Don't rely on a forum solely. Don't rely on one person solely. Even myself, when I give advice, don't just take my word for it. If you want to go away and do a bit more homework on that given question, then by all means, please go and do that. I actually recommend that you do that. The best way to learn on a subject, I mean, we're all still constantly learning, even me in the hobby. I'm still constantly learning about aquatics and the best ways to keep them. I'm constantly learning. I think if I ever get to a point where I feel like I know it all, will probably be the point that I stop doing it, because we can never know it all. Some people like to think that they do, but they don't. And it's part of learning. It's part of the hobby. It's the fun part of the hobby. Learning is fun. We should all want to learn a little bit more, right? I'm sure. So basically, because I get an influx of questions each and every day that literally amount to hundreds a week, no word of a lie, I wanted to quickly do a video to cover the quick-fire questions they get asked quite frequently. Some of them might seem real simple and real basic that you kind of should already know the answers to. Some of you probably already do. But I wanted to highlight the ones that keep constantly cropping up in order to hopefully kind of give a better understanding to the questions that are being asked. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. It's going to be a quick yes or no fire questions. So, da-da-da-da-da, yes or no. And then I'm going to give a very brief reason as to why I say yes or no. So, without further ado, let's get cracking with the knacking and get smashing with this week's video. So let's go. It's over here today. Come on. First one. Do axolotls really require a filter? They absolutely do. Now, there is some occasions where... I did say yes or no, didn't I? Yes. Next question, no. Yes, they do require a filter. A filter is the absolute vital key to the cycle of your tank, to the chemical balance and the well-being of your whole aquarium. If you take that filter out, you're going to cause upset and unbalance. Even if you're doing massive water changes, I think I need to be careful here. Someone recommended me to a website that suggested that you don't do water change, you don't do filters, and you just do massive water changes each week. Now, I'm not saying that won't work, but would I recommend that? Absolutely not. And if people are taking shortcuts and cutting corners and suggesting that people don't need filters for whatever reason, is that the really wisest thing to go and recommend that to potentially a new hobbyist that's getting into the hobby? Excuse me, do I need a filter? Nah, you'll be all right, mate. Just chuck some water out each week, sand. And then he goes away and he tells his mate, you don't need a filter. You're being gummed down there. You don't need a filter. Get yourself a water change, all you need to do each week, and then for whatever reason, a couple of weeks go by, no water changes. Guess what? Your axolotl will be floating. Ammonia burns are an absolute nightmare. You're going to have a lot of problems. So the short answer is, without me rambling on, which I said I wasn't going to do, is yes, you do need a filter. Get it right. Sponge filters for the win. Do I really need to use a water conditioner? Yes, again, you absolutely do. And the reason that you do, the answer is yes. The short answer is yes. I'll get the hang of this, I promise. The short answer is yes, you absolutely do need to condition your water. The reason is our water suppliers pump many chemicals through our water to make it safe for human consumption. It takes out any kind of nasties that are in the water, so they're safe for us to drink. It takes out all different sorts of things, and they're always constantly tweaking it too. So they're not constantly using one baseline of how they treat water. They're constantly improving and making it better for human consumption. In doing that, if you don't use the conditioner, all those nasties will eventually evaporate off, or at least most of them will if left standing for long enough. That's an old one I've heard, and I do believe that is actually true. But the safest and easiest option is just to treat your water. Get a good conditioner. There's many out there. There's Stress Coat, that works an absolute treat. There's Siege and Prime, again, that works an absolute treat. Just make sure you're treating the water, and I'd never advise that you don't treat the water, because if you don't treat the water, it's only going to become more problematic for your axolotl. So think smart. If it feels like it's too good to be true, there's always people trying to cut corners in the hobby, and I get that. It saves money, it saves a bit of time, I suppose. But the truth be told, if you're going to do something, do it right. My granddad used to say, if you want a job done properly, do it yourself. I like that saying. It's true. Will I need a heater for my axolotl in colder months? Absolutely no. No. You do not need a heater at all. Axolotls actually prefer colder climates. They prefer cold water. So a heater is never needed. In the winter months, when the weather does get really cold, your axolotl will actually appreciate the cold. It'll actually bask in his own glory of being cold. The cold water is essential to keep your axolotl happy, fungus free. Basically, if an axolotl is kept in warmer waters, the conditions of the water, eventually the axolotl is going to form things like fungus and other sicknesses. So the short answer, Frankie, the short answer is no, you do not require a heater in any way, shape or form. Will bloodworms work as a staple part of my axolotl's diet? The short answer for this is, I'm going to say yes, but it's sort of not as well. Basically, bloodworms are great. They really are, they're great. As soon as your baby axolotl switches from brine shrimp onto bloodworm, they will start growing really quick. They grow so beautifully on bloodworm. I call them the fatty fillers, because they pork them out so quickly. It's amazing how quick an axolotl can grow on frozen bloodworm. Now, the only problem is with this, I do find a lot of people feed their adult axolotls bloodworm, which is not harmful. It's just, unfortunately, you're never really going to fill an adult axolotl on bloodworm. You're going to need to be giving quite a significant amount of bloodworm in order to fill up the adult axolotl. The easiest way to obviously counter this is switch over onto pellets. I use pellets, I've shown you before, and I also use earthworms. These basically provide all the nutrition value that an axolotl needs. They will feel more satisfied on them. They will not constantly be looking for more food. A lot of people contact me and go, my axolotl just not putting weight on, and I'm feeding him. He's feeding every day and I just can't seem to get him any bigger. What's wrong with him? I'm like, nothing's wrong with him. It's just how you're doing things, and we break it down and we work out what people are feeding. And a lot of people either go for pellets and pellets alone, which I suppose work okay. They're designed for axolotls and other amphibians. There's no real harm in that. But I like to switch things up. I like to offer live earthworms as well. Again, bloodworms are fine, but as the axolotl gets older, you're going to find it near impossible to keep that little guy full on bloodworm. So just switch over onto earthworms and pellets and rotate them a little bit. Keep the diet interesting and they'll appreciate it a lot more. And then the next big one, I get this pretty much every time I introduce any friends or family to my axolotls for the first time. This is the question that I get asked. They go over to it, they tap the glass, and they go, what is it? Is it a fish? It looks like a funny fish. What is it? What's all this about? Is it a fish? And is an axolotl a fish? The short answer is no, it's an amphibian. So the chances are your axolotl is closely related to Kermit the Frog more than it would be James Pond. So no, he's not a fish at all. Although people do call them the Mexican walking fish. So I suppose you could kind of argue your corner, but no, technically they're an amphibian. They're a salamander. So I tried my best not to go off too much on a tangent and kind of like run away with myself. I could literally talk axolotl all day, every day, hence why I speak to many of you in the inbox every single day. Now I've kind of I've reined that back in and I haven't gone on a tangent. I want to now show you my axolotls. People love updates, so let's go and check out the baby axolotls and all the rest of the family. Let's go. Come on, this way, lazy bones, come on. So this tank has been set up for quite a while. I have turned the air pump off at the moment because it's quite noisy in the background, so this usually is working. It's a fully cycled tank, ready for some golden albinos that I'll be getting very, very soon from a friend, which I'm very much looking forward to getting. And then just below here, this is where we keep This little guy is now hiding, look. He's like, the lights are on and I don't know why. This is not usual protocol, Dad. What is going on? So that's Flixor trying to hide away from the lights. So don't keep the lights on because bright lights are not good for axolotls. And at the very back there, they're being very boring today. At the back there, look, there's Buddy. I don't know if we can see. There he is, look. Can you see him? Yeah, very boring today. I can only apologise. It is just because I flicked the lights on. And then directly below here, we have Pixel and Flick, who again are being quite boring, to be quite honest with you. They're all waiting for the food. I've not fed them yet this morning. But there you go, that's them in their tank as well. So that's the station I've got currently set up. So it goes like that. And I've got some new plants, by the way. Yay, new plants. And then on this side, I've got another station, which is at the moment just kind of got odds and ends on it. It's got the community tank, it's got my fancy golds, and then my equipment. But eventually, it's going to be a double system of axolotl. It's going to be a complete breeder's rack. It's going to be pretty special. I need to make this point very clear as well. Just because I breed axolotls doesn't mean I don't see them as pets. Every axolotl that I raise, straight from an egg to a beautiful adult, I view them as my pets. They're my family. They rely solely upon me. I am their care provider. And I take that role very seriously. So I'm not one of these guys that spends money out of the hobby. If anything, I'm actually putting more of my own money into this. So if anybody's getting into this hobby just to make a quick buck, believe me, you're in the wrong game, because this is not that sort of business. It's not that sort of hobby. You will not make an absolute fortune. I'm currently breaking even. So what I mean by that is I'm in a position now where the hobby is starting to pay for itself, which is great. It's fun. It helps. But even if it didn't, I'd still be doing it because I absolutely adore these water pups. So we're now going to take a quick look upstairs where the babies are kept, and I'm going to show you the babies. I'm not going to show you everything because I've got a few tricks up my sleeve, which I'm waiting for a little while before I share them with you. But just trust me when I say I've got some pretty special things lined up. Very special things, actually. So let's go look at the babies, but not all of them. Let's go. So please pardon my dust. This room is a little bit of a mess at the moment. I'm literally doing this before I've even had a morning coffee. So this is the breeder's rack. Now, before we get any wisecrackers going, oh, but you said you need a filter. Yes, you do need a filter, but this is my breeder's rack. And as you can imagine, babies come very, very frequently. I'm constantly feeding little tiny mouths. So what I tend to do with this station, because it'd be nearly impossible to kind of filter all of this in one massive go. Well, they're not impossible. Give me some ideas now, but it's just it's easier just to do it this way and do 100% water change each and every day. So right now, that one's top secret, that one's top secret, that one's top secret, and that one is soon to be top secret. So we're going to go for the top today. So we slide out the drawers here. You're going to meet some of the wild. These are actually going to the new home this week. So there's one at the back there, look. Podgy bellies all around. Now, wilds are absolutely stunning. I think they're massively overlooked in the hobby. And it's kind of a shame because they are stunning. Hey, no nipping. No nipping, bully boy. For me, there's so many variants of a wild. They come in so many different shades and they've got so much individuality about them. And I think they're massively underappreciated. I mean, I'd even go as far as saying they're one of my favourites, if not my favourites. So these guys are now waiting for food. So that's why they're looking very restless and a bit argy-bargy with one another. But I'll be doing a quick feed, then I'll be doing a water change, and then they'll be good to go until tomorrow. Although I do check in on them quite frequently. I'm constantly on the ball. I'm a bit obsessed with my babies, and I'm gonna miss these guys. I've had these for the longest, obviously, by the size and stuff, and I've recently sold 3 of them this week. And I'm genuinely going to miss them because they've got such character. I feed all of these guys by hand as well. Then if you watch any other videos, I always recommend that you feed by hand. I think it's a great way to earn that bond between the animal and the owner. So these guys will look up and look for food because they are very tame. They're not bothered by human interaction at all, which is exactly what I want to do. So I tend to feed them pellets. I feed it this particular brand because this is really easy to get online for everybody. So there's no like struggle at finding them. Whereas the other stuff that I tend to feed can be a little bit tricky to find. And then, he's going to nip me. You want to go for it? You want to go?
Run it, Pickering!
Oh. And then I feed earthworms as well. I feed earthworms by hand, and pellets I'll just drop them just in front of the nose so they know where the food is. Now in this drawer here, It's a bit dirty. So like I said, I haven't done the water change yet, but here's some of the wild types that are currently growing out quite nicely. Very pretty indeed. All growing front and back feet out now. And I've learnt a new trick as well to stop them nipping at each other. Just really feed them well. It sounds really obvious, but if you feed them really well, until they're actually refusing food, then you tend to find they don't really nip at each other. It's quite an obvious statement to make. Do I show you the next drawer? The secret drawer. The secret drawer. No, I'll save that one. I'll save that one for another time. Yeah, I know, it's a bit mean, wasn't it? It's a bit mean of me. Be worth the wait though, I promise. So there we have it. That's this week's video wrapped up in a nutshell. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out my content. Every view, every like, every comment never goes unnoticed. I really do appreciate your feedback and your kind words and all the rest of the support that you've given me. I'm doing similar videos to this in the coming weeks, but they'll probably be a bit more in depth and break things down a little bit more, and kind of, I've had a few suggestions for videos as well, which I'm absolutely going to do. So watch this space. Thank you all for stopping by and checking out this week's video. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. That will keep you posted when I upload things. Also hit the like button. And also ring that little bell thing, because that little bell apparently, don't know how good it is these days, it wasn't working for a while, but that will notify you as and when I upload my videos, which at the moment is each and every Monday at 1 or 2 o'clock, depending where you are. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out this week's video, and I'll see you all next week. Ta-ta for now. Boo! Bit wonky. Am I doing it right? I don't know. I'm going.